The CMRAO, the Condominium Management Regulatory Authority of Ontario, is governed by an independent board of directors who are responsible to appoint a registrar who oversees the educational requirements for condo managers as set by the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services, issues the individual and corporate licenses, and is responsible to enforce the ethical standards set by the CMSA. CMSA is the Condominium Management Services Act in 2015. As of November 1st, 2017, the CMSA required every individual or company managing a condominium in Ontario to have a license. So, as of November 1st, 2017, the CMSA is the Condominium Management Services Act. It's an act. So, in 2015, November 1st, 2017, CMSA required every individual or company managing a condo in Ontario to have a license. The requirement for licensing, both individual and corporate, will be reviewed in Chapter 10 of this manual in greater detail, but it's important for students to understand the role of CMRAO, the Condominium Management Regulatory Authority of Ontario, which is regulating, or which is oversee that the CMSA law uh, um, is implemented. So the requirement for licensing, both individual and corporate, will be reviewed in Chapter 10 of this manual in greater detail, but it's important for students to understand the role of CMRA. O plays in issuing the license and overseeing licensed condominium managers and management provider. Plays in issuing the license. So should understand the role issuing the license and overseeing licensed condominium managers and management providers. As with the CAO, Condominium Authority of Ontario, and the CMROs, the Condominium Management Regulatory Authority of Ontario, uh, operations are funded by the sector that is responsible to regulate. Funded by the sector that it is responsible to regulate. This means that the operation of the CMRA are funded through the licensing fee is charged to the condo managers and condominium management companies. Hierarchy of condominium documents. Managing, governing, or living in a condominium can rise to many questions and variety of topics, such as who's responsible. So who's responsible to maintain components of the owner's unit? How are maintenance fee calculated, and when must they be paid? How does an owner renovate their suite, and from whom do they need permissions? Who is responsible to repair the damage caused if an owner's washing machine leaks? The answers uh, The answers to these and all other questions related to condominium ownership and operation are found in the governing documents that applies to condominium and are outlined in this section. Each document has specific purpose and provide power related to the ownership, operations, and governance of the condominium corporation. Each document has specific purpose and power related to ownership, operations, and governance of their condominium corporation. To understand the role of different governing documents related to condominium, one must understand their authority in relation to each other as well. The chart below title The Hierarchy of Condominium the sorry The hierarchy of condominium documents provide a visual representation of the responsibility of each documents and their priority as they relate to enforcement. In the event of contradiction between two documents on the pyramid, the requirement or obligation imposed by the document higher on the pyramid takes priority. So the first one would be policies approved by the board and changed at any time. Then rules approved by the board and circulated to owners, enforced the day after 30 days passes without a requisition for a meeting of owners. See S58 of the Act for other ways a rule can be changed. Bylaws created by the board and approved, change by the majority vote of owners. Condominium declaration created by the declarant and change with 80 to 90% vote of the owners. Condominium Act and regulation created and changed by the government. Human Rights Code created and changed by the government. So, Ontario Human Rights Code was passed in 1962, and all legislation in Ontario, including the Condominium Act 1998, um, is subject to protection that it provides to all Ontarians based on protected grounds, that is gender, religion, age, etc. This means that while the Human Rights Code is not specifically a government document related to condominiums, the Condominium Act and all governing documents below it on this pyramid are subordinate to it. A condominium corporation is created and governed by Condo Act. This condominium specific legislation sets out the steps required to create a condominium and sets out the obligation sets out the obligations that the corporation must comply with in its governance. The Act went through significant modification in 2017, and as a result, regulation now plays a significant role in determining the requirement placed on every condominium by the Act. It's important that managers are familiar with both the Act and regulation that accompany it when executing their duties. The declarations define the type of condominium that has been created. Uh, the type of condominium that has been created, standard, uh, vacant land, phased, or common elements. So declaration define the type of condominium that has been created, standard, vacant land, phased, or common element. The purpose, residential, commercial, or mixed use. The size, the number of units, and outlines at a very high level the relationship between the condo corporation and the individual owners. Later in this chapter, the importance of some part of the declaration will be analyzed. Bylaws allow for individual and evolution of the condominium. The Act allows the board and condominium owners to set as well as change important governance standard, for example, number of directors, director qualification, and make decisions specific to their property, that is